Hey everybody, KC here. So CNBC had a story that popped yesterday about how Amazon CEO Andy Jassy defines trust, and more specifically, sort of how he has refined the definition of trust as originally explained by former CEO Jeff Bezos. And Jassy says that while Bezos talked about earning trust as being one of his primary leadership tenets, he says people sometimes confuse it with being nice to each other or having social cohesion or not challenging each other in meetings. That's not what we mean. What we mean is being honest, authentic, straightforward, listening intently, but challenging respectfully if you disagree, and then delivering what you said you would. If you want to earn trust, if you say you've got something, deliver it. If you own something and it's not going well, be self-critical and fix it. In other words, in his mind, part of trust is the ability to respectfully disagree and then, of course, commit once a decision is made. And I have to say, I kind of like the idea of criticism being inherent to trust, the ability to offer it, the ability to accept it, and even be self-critical in a way that's ultimately honest. And the thing is, that's a lot harder than it sounds. I also think it's probably harder for big businesses to do this, right? As processes become more institutionalized and more layers are created, it's organizations I don't think are necessarily built that way, or they tend to drive any kind of a disagreement out of the system. And to me, that underlines something that's really important organizationally, which is I think people have to figure out a way in big organizations. And listen, the world is becoming more full of big organizations. Just that's the way things seem to be going. You got to show even more respect for disagreement. You have to show even more respect for challenges. As companies get bigger and bigger and bureaucracy grows, I think there's a tendency to minimize the importance of this. They minimize the importance of institutional memory. Those people move on often because they're not made to feel welcome, or they're just given their walking papers, and they're replaced by people who may not have as good a sense of the business, and they're certainly not as connected to core values as the people who were there originally. Now listen, I'm not coming out in favor of people who would say things like, hey, we've always done it that way. But I think the ability to be connected to core values and still be open to new things, that's really, really important. The bigger a company gets, the more critical it is. And let's be clear, the more difficult it is to accept and encourage disagreement at every level. Listen, at the end, people at big companies especially, they love regimentation. But to me, regimentation, if you're going to be creative, if you're going to be innovative, that's something you got to avoid at all costs. Anyway, that's what's on my mind. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.